Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this is part one of my three-part video all about the nature of the hero challenge posed by the state of Mercury in February 2022. Part two follows, and that's all about who's affected most and what the timetable is. And part three, which follows, is about the need to understand the Mercury Retrograde shadow period that is powerfully following the Mercury Retrograde period that ends on the 3rd of February. Now truly, we all need to know about this very exceptional and severely challenging Mercury Retrograde then shadow period dominating until the end of February 2022. Mercury is going to be extremely influential in our minds, in our communication, IT and post issues, etc. And we all need to know what the higher potential of this is. And we all need to know what the possible potential rewards for me, for you are, of this maelstrom of energies impacting on Mercury, which affects our mind and communication so much. In fact, there is a clash of the titans that is going to be going on that will affect our minds and communication issues. Mercury is actually in a very complicated, fraught state that challenges our minds and our communications all through February. But if each of us can bring awareness and see the buried gold at the end of the rainbow, I say that from Ireland, where I'm making this video, gold at the end of the rainbow, then the chewed up state that Mercury will be in at this time can actually offer us needed revolution in our life, needed new insights about ourself and our life, needed new directions in our life, needed new power to stand in and manifest if we know about all this and if we know how to do it. Inescapably, we all have to wrestle with the issues of Mercury retrograde, then the shadow phase, up to February the 24th and beyond because of Mars factors. But we also have to emerge, ideally, as heroes from being mauled by the Mercury mixed up energies with Uranus, Saturn, Pluto and Mars, plus an important to know trio of further absolutely gargantuan factors in addition. Kalsapa Yoga, the nodes of the moon changing signs, that's in April, but we can feel it already, and the Pluto return of the USA, first exact March next year, but we can feel it already, very much so. Now see the timetable for all this maelstrom in the part 2 video and blog. But here in this part 1 video is the list of the challenges, and it's so useful to hear them stated so as to be more able to spiritually grow, more able to become our needed hero self. So Uranus is very much impacting Mercury, totally impacting it at the beginning and the end of its present retrograde and shadows. The vast revolution call of Mercury is blasted at each of us, Mercury-Uranus. The Uranus-Mercury combination has the potential to bring very needed revolutionary insights to each of us and revolutionary new communication initiatives. It certainly did with me. Watch this space. Okay. But of course Saturn's involved. The blocks, the imprisoning structures and the strategies grimly imposed upon us by Saturn, including our Saturn past life karmas, can actually become an arena for us to grow in insight and manage our karmas now. Because, most crucial to know, Uranus is smashing against Saturn this month. Uranus is square Saturn at this time, as well as being very closely square Mercury at a couple of key junctures. So actually this month, Uranus is handing each of us our get out of your Saturn jail free card. It's saying, now is the time for you to storm your personal Bastille. French Revolution. But Pluto is very much caught up with the timetable of this Mercury transit and shadow periods. The vast, implacable, immense power. The crucial need to contact and liberate the power of our shadow dimensions. The Pluto healing call is inexorably made at each and all of us now by Pluto. But there's Mars as well affecting Mercury. The final straw will be February the 26th, that's the exact date, when irate and powerful Mars enters Capricorn and fights it out mindlessly, unless we can raise our awareness about all this, fights it out mindlessly with Pluto, Uranus, Saturn, and of course with Mercury. All of this is definitely making Mercury like a log in a maelstrom at this time. But that's, these planetary energies that I've listed aren't all. You also need to know absolutely there's 3 more huge energies also going on at this time. 3 great enveloping energies that we absolutely do need to know about and manage and grow spiritually in the face of. They are Kalsapa Yoga, the nodes of the moon changing sign, we're closing on that, it's exact in April, and the Pluto return of the USA first exact next March. Okay, let's look at those a bit. Kalsapa Yoga. Firstly, it's so very crucial to know that all through this time, Kalsapa Yoga is in force. The preposterous, divisive and sensationalist energy where all planets are to one side of the nodal axis, including, of course, when the moon is the other side of the nodal axis, but it's on its own, an unsupported moon, a Kimadruma moon, which makes the mind even more destabilised and ranting and so on, and fearful. Those having Kalsapa Yoga in their birth chart as well will be very adversely affected by all this. True spiritual awareness will be needed by them now, not just the ranted pretense of that. The sensationalist ranters, even when they say they're spiritual, will be more of a danger now. The combatives, the warlike rulers who have Kalsapa Yoga are that much more dangerous now. This Kalsapa Yoga period started on December the 13th when Mars crossed over K2 South Node, and I personally found that Mars K2 transit horrendous. It was right on top of my Mars Chiron in early Scorpio. But when Mars crossed over K2, it started the feature that in fact the last bit of the jigsaw clicked into place and all the planets were to one side of the nodal axis. Now this Kalsapa Yoga ends around the 24th of April when Mercury actually crosses over Rahu, God help us, to end the feature that all the planets are to one side of the nodal axis. Mercury will have moved to be the only planet the other side of it. No problem. I mentioned there were 3 extra factors in the Mercury maelstrom, and the second is the nodes of the moon changing sign. The exact date of the nodes changing Vedic sign is the 12th of April 2022. But the destination signs that nodes are moving to especially are feeling it now. And these are Vedic Libra and Aries. Rahu, the north node, enters Aries in April 2022. Ketu, the south node, enters Libra. Now, Libra is massively affected now anyway, in addition, by aspects from Jupiter, Saturn and Uranus opposite, from the Venus retrograde that's going on, and the Venus-Mars conjunction, because of course Venus is the ruler of Libra. And of course Mars is greatly affected because of course Mars is the ruler of Aries. Are you prepared for these issues to do with not just Mercury, but also Venus and Mars? Do you really know what it's all about as this time passes when it affects you? Do you feel you can see the divine dimension of purpose in it all for you now? And the third important add-on feature is of course the Pluto return of the United States. Everyone in the world has to do with this because of the power of the United States. It's a major factor which will affect the energies of Mercury now and the world, because so many issues about power and the denial of power and the proper nature and seeking of power and the illusory, divisive, negative seeking of power, all arising in the minds of so many, centering in the USA. The social media war, sadly, is very much still on. Pluto is at 3 Capricorn this month. Pluto in the birth chart of the country is at 6 Capricorn. This really is affecting the consciousness, behaviour and relating patterns of a considerable percentage of the population. Now, before I finish this part 1 video, I must say that in part 2 I go into who is affected most and the timing, and in part 3 I go into the crucial detail of the shadow period, the shadow period of Mercury that comes in from the 3rd of February when Mercury stations and goes direct. So watch those 2 and do get a reading from me. Go to my Star Wheel Astrology buy page. My readings are very carefully prepared for. They're online, you get recordings, you can get wonderful preparatory reports, and my wife Maggie Pashley does a huge range of healings online. So I hope to hear from you, and please now go to my part 2 video about Mercury in a mess in February 2022. Thank you.